Now, let's have a look at the garden. Now, we had quite an unusual spring this year. First it was very, very cold and quite wet. And then suddenly, end of May, it got incredibly hot. Oh, look, there's a frog there. Oh, and then the last few days it was very wet again. So the garden is trying to keep up with that weather. Look, there's the first poppy out. Self-seeded. The chives are looking good this year, as always. Never do anything with them, they just seem to look after themselves. There's the ragged robin. I was given that last year and it's settling in fine. The peonies are fantastic this year, despite all the soggy rain that makes them bend over. But they like that bit of sunshine now, don't they? There's the gladiola coming up slowly. Will be another while though. Our beautiful rose bush doesn't really like the rain, because that's what happens to the flowers when it rains too much. Our rhubarb plant seems to recover. It didn't do much in early spring at all. It was just such a wet winter. Didn't like that. I love the foxgloves. They're coming up everywhere, all self-seeded. Some people would say they are a weed, but I just think they're gorgeous. And I love it that they like to live in our garden. They're so pretty. And then there's loads and loads of evening primrose that's self-seeded, and it seems to come up everywhere. And soon it'll have pretty yellow flowers. Here's the giant garlic bed, and they are giant. Yeah, slowly. We leave that another month or so. Well, the first cosmos flowers are out. I think they're so pretty. Tim isn't too keen on them. He says they're too pink. But what's wrong with that? Nothing can be too pink, can it? Here are our 2 blueberry bushes I replanted from a different place. Try to settle in our garden. And they have blueberries on them. But I bet as soon as those turn blue, the birds will get them. Well, we'll see. Lupin. Oh, there's a bumblebee. Busy, busy. There's our sweet William. And the calendula. This is our Comfrey Forest. Comfrey seems to like it in our garden. That's great. Moving on to our mint forest. Lots of mint everywhere. And the lovage. Lovage wants to flower soon. And then there's our marjoram forest. Ooh, lovely smell. Well, there always has to be space for 1 or 2 nettles as well. Let's see how our vegetable garden does. Lots of kale coming. Ragged Jack. Curly kale. Some other sort of kale. And some weeds amongst it. Well, mind you, this is Tim's part of the garden, so moving over to my part, which is nice and weeded. I just planted out these turnips and the leeks. Still tiny. There they are. And this is my carrot bed. I put the first seeds out in early April and about 1 germinated. So I just put more seeds in the ground. And here's the beetroot. Oh, it seems to be doing well. And some chard. Oh, I've just dug more manure into this bed. It'll be left fallow this year. And to keep the weeds down a bit, I put some straw mulch on it. This is the cabbage plot. Brussels sprouts and cabbages and red cabbage and I forgot now. Oh, cauliflower, I think, broccoli. And here's my courgette patch. I plant courgette in heaps of half-rotted horse manure. They seem to like that. And there's the first courgette coming. Ooh, look, there it is. There's some giant garlic that came up where it wasn't supposed to come up, so I must have forgotten some bulbs in the ground. Looks good. And a Californian poppy, self-seeded. And some rocket. Well, and this is my broad bean patch. Not doing too well this year because I had a bit of a weevil attack on the plants in May. But they didn't destroy the plants, and actually they seem to be recovering and doing well. You can see this first little broad bean pod coming. Now this kale really wants to grow out of the compost heap, but just as well we leave it there. And then those are the compost heaps. You might have seen those already in our compost video. And that's all the weeding I've been doing, piled up high. There we go, elderflower with two different bushes growing close together. One is dark-leaved and one is the ordinary green-leaved. And they love it here next to the compost. They're absolutely massive at this stage. And the smell is just gorgeous. That's our apple tree in the garden. It always carries lots of apples at this time of the year, and usually in another month or so it sheds them all. So we never actually had an apple off this tree yet. This is the last of the aquilegia. That's self-seeding as well. There's radishes that haven't decided yet whether they want to actually turn into radish or more seed. They seem to do a bit of both. We just had such odd weather this spring, cold and hot and dry and wet, so a lot of the plants don't quite know what to do. Our horseradish, and this is our perennial cabbage. Lovely, lovely nasturtiums. The onions are doing well. Need a bit more weeding now, but look at them. Fantastic. Forget-me-nots. Lovely. They're self-seeding as well. Another fish box of plants waiting to be planted out. Sweet pea and pumpkin. And this is our lovely rose hedge climbing along the garden fence. Hi Flora. There's kale from last year going to seed. Great, we need more seeds. Oh, the rose is lovely this year, isn't it? Oh, and there's my coffee. Better keep on drinking that before it gets too cold. All right, Annie.